As we've talked about many times, Iran is threatening to kill everybody in Israel 3, 4 times a day. Want to know who paid for that arming of Iran, especially the missiles? We did. We're going to tell you about it. Claire, since the Biden regime took over 3.5 years ago, they've reversed the Trump strategy of isolating Iran militarily and financially. Trump had done a terrific job slapping ferocious sanctions on Iran that were preventing it from monetizing its tremendous oil reserves. Its international trade came screeching to a halt. The country was on the verge of bankruptcy. The nuclear program that they attempted to pursue was being grossly restricted by basically the money supply being shut off. And all Biden had to do was nothing and let it go. But early appointments in the Biden administration were the holdovers from the Obama administration, who went right back to Iran and said, how much can we give you in cash and when if you promise to be nice? Which by this point ought to look as stupid to every American as it does to you and I. It's an absurd appeasement of a regime that has declared their intention to destroy anyone that opposes them. The big Satan in the United States, little Satan in Israel. We've given them over $100 billion in freed up asset monetization in 3.5 years. And what did they do? They went on a massive spending spree, building things like these long-range rockets. And as we've talked about in an earlier segment, Israel and Western Europe, and eventually, if their ICBMs work, the United States is in big trouble. And we gave them the money to build these weapons on a massive scale and to export them to all of their proxies throughout the Middle East. And we know who they are in Lebanon, in Syria, in Sudan, in Yemen, and so on. I don't understand why this isn't talked about all the time. We talk about Iran being an enemy, but nobody seems to connect the dots that we're paying for it.
Yeah, you're making a very good point there, Barry, but let's look at the world view of this administration of Joe Biden, and of course, hearkening back to the earlier two administrations, tenures of Barack Obama. The world view for them is, number one, America is a force for ill in the world. And number two, their highest aspiration for the Middle East, if their policy can help to shape that, Iran must be empowered and must be allowed to go nuclear. Why? To balance Israel, which they loathe, and also to balance the far more numerous populations of Sunnis in that region of the Middle East compared to the Shiites of Iran and a smaller population in Bahrain. So their entire objective in this Biden administration has been to empower Iran in any way possible, failing to enforce the sanctions, which, as you say, filled their coffers with illicit oil money. The failure to enforce sanctions, the failure to impose any new sanctions, allowing Iran to sell oil to, in particular, China, but other places too, with no enforcement of sanctions. And that's deliberate. The stated objective of the Biden administration has been to renew the nuclear deal, the JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, concluded under the Obama administration previously, and then pulled out, the United States pulled out by then President Trump in May of 2018. The Biden administration, just want to get back into that deal. And they know perfectly well that, as Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has said, that deal is nothing but a glide path to a deliverable nuclear weapons capability for Iran.
Well said. I wish the people at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue would listen to Claire Lopez.